I don't know what the deal is with some Christians who give in to the notion or belief that the Nephilim survived after the flood. You know, at the time when Joshua and Caleb and the other spies went into the land of Canaan, when they came back, men said that the men there were giants, and there we saw the Nephilim. Based off of that one passage, many Christians give in to the belief that the Nephilim existed post-flood, after the flood. There's so many ways for you to know that that's a blatant lie, and there's so many ways for you to see that they could not have been the actual Nephilim. So what the men were saying was that they saw what they thought were the Nephilim. The whole purpose of the flood, people, was because the sons of God came down and slept with the daughters of men, and they bred hybrid creations, which were the Nephilim, right? And apart from the Nephilim, the whole world had become corrupt. So what did God do? He brought the deluge. The purpose of the deluge was to destroy the Nephilim and to destroy all mankind and all creation, because all flesh had been ruined in the eyes of God. Only 8 souls survived the flood. Let me repeat. Only 8 souls survived the flood. The Nephilim are not angels. They are humans. They are giants. They died. Their fathers, the angels, materialized themselves back into their angelic bodies so that they wouldn't drown and die, right? So they materialized themselves back into their angelic bodies and they survived the flood. But Peter tells us that those angels who came down to sleep with the daughters of men have been kept in Tartarus and are reserved there for the day of judgment. Now, there are several ways you can interpret that, but this video is not going to be about that, which actually I believe I made a video addressing that. But if I haven't, I will make a video, because I make videos and I don't post them. Sometimes I post it, but it's private, and I choose when to post it based on when I feel like I should post it. So right now I have several videos that I haven't posted, but it's up there in private. And there are other videos that I have in my archives that I haven't uploaded yet. So I'm not sure if I've uploaded this one yet. But the Nephilim are dead. If the Nephilim survived the flood, that means God failed in his agenda when he brought the flood. No. The Nephilim are dead. Okay, so the only way that the Nephilim could still be alive at the time of Joshua and Moses in the land of Canaan, the only way they could have been alive is if one of the Nephilims slept with either Noah's wife or Shem, Ham, and Japheth's wives. It's either they slept with Noah's wife or one of Shem, Ham, and Japheth's wives, right? One of the three. But that's absurd. That did not take place. In order for you to conclude that would be an assumption. It will be a ridiculous assumption, because what? One of them slept with the wives of the sons of Noah, or one of them slept with Noah's wife, and so the genealogy of the Nephilim continued to exist after that's ridiculous, people. Okay, so when the spies, first of all, these men who uttered those words were not faithful men of God. They were unfaithful. That's why they never entered the promised land. Out of the men who went into the land of Canaan, only 2 got to go into the promised land, because God said, because they brought a bad report and they caused the heart of the people to fall, because they brought a bad report and not trusting in God. God said that none of you guys will see the promised land. Only, he said, only Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun. Only those 2. So all the other people and all the older men and women, they all died off. And what did God do? He said they will wander the wilderness for 40 days, for 40 years, right? Until all the men and women of that generation dies off. So God caused those people to die off of non-natural causes. So what were the ways that God used to do it? Through the wars that they fought before they entered the promised land, God caused a large number of that generation to die. He caused, you could say, plagues. The Bible doesn't really say it, but towards the end, when they were about to enter the promised land, the Bible says that God caused them to die off, so that by the time the 40-year period had arrived, they would have all been dead. But Joshua was still strong. Even though he was older, he was still strong. Caleb was an older man, but Caleb even said that I'm just as strong now as I was back then when we were fighting off, the giants and the Canaanites. He was still a valiant man because God's Spirit empowered them to still be strong so that they could enjoy the promised land and not suffer just because the other people suffered and didn't trust in God. If you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So those 38 men out of the 40 were not faithful men. They died. So when those 38 men said that they saw the Nephilim, their words are not divine decrees. They saw what they thought were the Nephilim. They're not speaking off of some inspired expression that when they saw the Nephilim, so because they saw the Nephilim, oh, it's an inspired expression, so they really did see the Nephilim. No, they did not see the Nephilim. But they know that the Nephilims in the time of Noah were giants. They know that. So when they saw giants in the land of Canaan, they assumed they saw the Nephilim. Okay? And not only that, it could also be that they didn't really assume that they saw the Nephilim, but it was just an expression like we saw what were like the Nephilim because they are a giant like the Nephilim. But the Nephilim did not survive the flood. So they did not see the Nephilim. So it's either they're assuming that the Nephilim survived the flood, which is false because that means they're wrong and they're not spiritual. So we know what they're saying is complete utter nonsense. Right? Joshua and Nun didn't say that. I mean, Joshua and Caleb didn't say that. Joshua knows that that's not the Nephilim. Moses knows they're not the Nephilim. Everyone who is spiritual knows that they're not the Nephilim. So why is it that so many Christians today believe that the Nephilim survived the flood? No. There's a different name for them. They're called the Rephaim. They're not called the Nephilim. They're called the Rephaim. Right? They were called the sons of Anakin. I believe the sons of Anakin were giants. The Rephaim were giants. Goliath was part of the Rephaim or the sons of Anakin. They were just giant people. How else do we know that they weren't the Nephilim? Well, I mean, I don't even need to say anything more than this. You should use common sense to know that they're not really the Nephilim. But understand that it wasn't just the people who were giants. The vegetation of the land were gigantic. The grapes were gigantic. The mangoes, the fruits, everything, the vegetations of the land were all gigantic, including the people. So it wasn't like, so what, did the Nephilim sleep with the fruits? Did the Nephilim sleep with the vegetations of the land so that the land, everything in the land was gigantic? No, that's nonsense, people. The people of the land of Canaan were giants because the land is rich in oxygen and nitrogen. So the vegetation and the people were all big and strong and gigantic. But it wasn't because of the Nephilim, because the genes of the Nephilim died off. And understand too that the Nephilim could not procreate. They were hybrid creations. They were giants and they died at the time of the flood. I want you all to see something. In Numbers 13 verse 33, the men who brought the bad report, they said, there also we saw the Nephilim. And then in parentheses, it says the sons of Anak are part of the Nephilim. Right? The sons of Anak are part of the Nephilim. Now, is it saying they are part of the Nephilim in the sense that is the Nephilim that existed before the flood? Well, one, we just settled that it can't be that. So what do they mean by the sons of Anak are part of the Nephilim? Look at the word in the middle. And look at 5303. It says giants. In simple terms, giants. So it's not saying Nephilim as in the same Nephilim pre-flood. It's saying, because remember, the Nephilim pre-flood, they are also giants. But Nephilim in itself is not a word that just strictly applies to the sons of the fallen angels. Nephilim just refers to giants. But the terminology Nephilim is translated as the fallen ones or to fall. So the problem with them putting Nephilim is that you would immediately acquaint them with the sons of the fallen angels, because Nephilim, by terminology, literally means the fallen ones. But in this reference here in Numbers 13, verse 33, it strictly just means the giants, right? That's why it says the sons of Anak are part of the Nephilim. And if you look to the right, it says giants, name of two peoples, one before the flood and one after the flood. But the ones before the flood and the ones after the flood are not related. But the same word is used for both instances, even though they are not related. So let me give y'all another example. Let's go to Deuteronomy 2 verse 10. It says, again, parentheses, the Amim. No, let's go to the previous verse first. It says, then Yehovah, even though it says then the Lord, we know that the Tetragrammaton is there. So then Yehovah said to me, do not harass Moab, nor provoke them to war, for I will not give you any of their land as a possession, because I have given Ar to the sons of Lot as a possession. So the Moabites are descendants of Lot, Abraham's nephew. Next verse. Then in parentheses is describing the people who live in Ar, right? It says the Amim lived there formerly. Who were the Amim? A people as great and numerous and tall as the Anakim or Anakim, right? Who are the Anakim? The sons of Anak, right? Translation for Anakim, Nek, a giant people around Hebron and Philistia. Now, let's go back to Numbers 13, verse 33. The sons of Anak, right? The sons of Anak. Translation, Nek, the Canaanites, right? So Anak, okay. The Amim lived there formerly, a people as great, numerous, and tall as the Anakim, right? Okay. Verse 11. Like the Anakim, they are also regarded as Rephaim. The Rephaim are another people who are also gigantic. Okay. Sorry about that. Just as I started talking, a lot of noise in the background. So where was I? About the sons of Anakim, the Rephaim. Okay, so basically they're all the same people. Now, like I told you guys, common sense here. It was not only the people of the land who were gigantic. The fruits, okay, the vegetations, the plants of the land were all gigantic. So if we're to say that the people were gigantic because of the Nephilim, that somehow the Nephilim survived the flood that God brought to destroy them with, they somehow survived, and or that one of them slept with the wives of the sons of Noah, or Noah's wife, or as absurd as that may sound, that's what you're believing in when you believe that the Nephilim, the actual Nephilim before the flood, survived somehow, right? So if that's the case, okay, so then the people of the land should be gigantic, but not the fruits, not the vegetations of the land. You understand? Why would the people be gigantic because of the Nephilim, and also the fruits be gigantic? Why would one be gigantic and the other be gigantic when the Nephilim have nothing to do with the vegetations of the land? Right? Am I making any sense here? So obviously the reason why the people were gigantic was because the land was a rich land. God, this is called the promised land for a reason. It's a land that God has blessed. It's rich in nitrogen, is rich in oxygen, is rich in argon, is rich in all the gases that we need to be optimal human beings. It is a land that God loves. People don't understand that this might be the Garden of Eden post flood. People don't understand that. But again, that's a different topic, which I've made a video on too. But is a blessed land. So the people of that land are blessed in that they are giants, and the vegetations of the land are also blessed. But they have nothing whatsoever to do with the Nephilim pre-flood. But the term Nephilim is applied to them because they are giants. So let's proceed to the video. I notice there is this problem with Christians today. When they read things like, for example, you see there was an angel that approached Samson's parents. Before Samson was born, there was an angel that approached them. And Samson's father, Manoah, when they realized that it was an angel and the angel ascended to heaven, he told his wife, surely we're going to die because we have seen God, face to face. But did he really see God face to face? When Manoah said that, was that the Spirit of God moving him to say that we have seen God face? No, he's a regular man who saw an angel, and he just thought he saw God face to face, but he did not. He saw an angel. Right? When men in Bible times said these expressions like, oh, we have seen God, surely we're going to die, that's just their human intellect thinking that they saw that. So the Bible is writing it down, is recording it as that's what they said. But it's not saying that that's what they actually saw. It's just recording what they thought they saw. Right? So if I was to see an angel, let's say the Bible isn't written, right? And I was living at that time, me, Samuel, and I'm completely ignorant of the fact that no man can see God and live. Right? And Christ said no man has seen God at any point in time. So all those people who thought they saw God clearly did not, because Christ said no man has seen God or heard his voice at any time. So the voices that they heard was not the voice of God. The people, the angelic beings that they saw was not God. Christ validified that, right? So when all those people said that they saw God and they thought they were going to die, what does that mean now? That means that they didn't see that, but they thought they saw God. So again, if I was living at that time, in my ignorance, if I was to see an angelic creation, that's a creature. Well, if I was to see an angelic creation, angelic being, and I said, oh my God, I'm going to die because I just saw God, right? The Bible is going to record that as this is what Samuel said. But is that what Samuel really saw? Did Samuel really see God, or did he just see an angelic being? Now, if you doubt what I'm saying, well, take Christ's words as fact, because Christ said, no, Sam did not see God because no man has seen God. Sam did not hear God's voice because no man has heard God's voice at any time. So that means when someone was speaking at the mountain, at Mount Horeb, aka Mount Sinai, when the mountain was shaking and the people said, let not God speak with us for fear that we may die, but let him speak to you, Moses, and then you tell us, right? That means that was not the voice of God. So whose voice was that? The voice of the angel of God, the angel of the Lord, the angel of Yehovah. That was whose voice they heard. And the appearance was the appearance of the angel of the Lord, the angel of Yehovah. It was not God, because no man can see God and live. So when the people said we have seen the Nephilim, just like the people thought they saw God face to face, they did not in fact see God face to face. They did not hear his voice, and they did not in fact see the Nephilim, because the Nephilim are dead. Okay, so it bothers me when I hear Christians say that the Nephilim survived after the flood. So it's like Christians really aren't even thinking. They're not using their thinking faculties at all. Because you just have to sit down and think and say, wait, if they survived the flood, then it means God failed in destroying the Nephilim, because that's why he brought the flood. And then, I mean, that's half of the reason why he brought the flood, to destroy the Nephilim, to destroy the works of what the fallen angels have done, which part of it consists of the Nephilim. So it's either God failed in that, or he succeeded, but the Nephilim slept with one of the wives of Noah and his sons. You understand the absurdity of that notion, of that belief, right? So, yeah. Like I'm saying, like, am I the only person who could think deep about these subjects? It's strange to me. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Peace.